Good evening, students. Welcome in course Math F113 Probability and Statistics. Today, we will discuss comprehensive examination question paper of previous semester 2021. So, let us start with the first question. In urn A, there are four red balls and two white balls, while urn B contains two red balls and four white balls. A coin is tossed for which the probability of tail is small p. If a tail is received, one ball is drawn from urn A. Otherwise, one ball is drawn from urn B. From the given information, you have to compute following things. In part A, what is the probability that the ball drawn is red? And B part, if the ball drawn is red, what is the probability that it comes from the urn A? So this question belongs to the basic probability theory. So let us have a solution. So according to question, there are the two urn A and B having the four red and two white and two red, four white balls respectively. So here, so as you have seen, as we have told in lecture or in tutorial, always it is necessary to define the event properly. So here we are defining the event. Let A, the event that on A is selected, B, the event that on B is selected, and R, the event that ball drawn is red. So in the first part, in the first part, it is asked what is the probability that ball drawn is red. Means you have to compute the probability of drawing the red ball. So required probability is the PR by total probability total probability rule. We can write it as a P of R given A into P of A plus P of R given B into P of B. According to question, it is given to you if A is selected when we have the tail, and probability for the tail is the P. So P of A will be the small p and P of B will be the complementary probability 1 minus P. So when we put these values in given total probability rule, so P of R will be the 4 by 6 means P of R given A means red when A is selected. So in A total we have the 6 ball. In A total we have the 6 ball. Out of the 6 ball, 4 are the red. So required probability will be the 4 by 6. So 4 by 6 into P plus 2 by 6 into 1 minus P, which will give you 1 by 3 into P plus 1 by 3. In the second part, it is asked if the ball drawn is red, what is the probability that it comes from the urn A? Means in this question, we have to apply the Bayes theorem. Bayes theorem gives you the probability of cause given effect. So, so probability of A given R will equal to the probability of R given A into P of A divided by the PR. So here we are using the Bayes theorem. So from the given information, P of R given A will be the 4 by 6. P of A, it is small p, and P of R we have computed above. So it will be the 1 by 3 into P plus 1. So this on solving you will get 2P upon P plus 1 required probability. So that is the first question based on the total probability and Bayes theorem. Second question, an urn contains 5 white balls and 3 red balls. We draw one ball at a time at random without replacement. So this is main thing to note. This experiment we are doing the without replacement until we obtain a white ball, and required result is the white ball. Let x, here we define the x number of draw required to end the random experiment. So this is the random variable. So always it is necessary to specify properly what is the random variable or required random variable or required event. Find the probability distribution of the fx. So you have to determine here the probability mass function. Probability mass function, because x is the discrete random variable. Let A be the event that first white ball is obtained after at most 2 draws. Find P of A. So first we have defined the random variable x, number of drawn. So it can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 3, it can be 4. So what is the required probability? So if the first ball it is given to you in the question, there are 5 white balls and 3 red balls. So total 8 balls. If the first draw is white, so probability will become 5 upon 8. If second draw is white, means first is the red. So when the first is red, it will become 3 by 8, right? 3 by 8 into 5 by 7, because experiment is without replacement. So number of wall will reduced. Then after means if x is equal to 3, so first two are red and third one will be the white. So there are 3 red balls, 5 white balls. So it will become 3 by 8 for the first attempt, 2 by 7 for the second attempt, and then 5 white ball in 6 remaining ball. So it will become the 5 by 6. So it will give you 5 by 56. Then after x is equal to 4. So x is equal to 4 means all the red ball exhausted. All the red ball exhausted means for the first attempt it is 3 by 8. For the second attempt it is 2 by 7. And for the third attempt it is 1 by 6. So it will become 1 upon 56. So this in these are what? This is the probability mass function for x is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So that is the first part. Now in the second part, let A be the event that first white ball is obtained after at most 2 draws. So what we are defining here, the event means x less than equal to 2. So probability P of A we are defining, it means we are saying that at most 2 events. So x is equal to 2. So that is the probability x is equal to at most 2 draws. At most 2 draws. So it will give you x is equal to 1 plus probability x is equal to 2. So already we have computed above. So it is the 5 by 8 plus 15 by 56. So total it will become 50 upon 56 or 25 upon 28. So this is the required probability. Now in the third question, the time it takes to make a question paper is normally distributed. Means x is what? A normal random variable, right? It is given to you and it denote the time it takes to make a question paper with mean 40 minutes and standard deviation 15 minutes. Find probability that one can finish making a question paper in less than 20 minutes. In part B, find the probability that one spends between 30 to 45 minutes in preparing question paper. So this question belongs to the continuous distribution, right? So what I have told you, always first we have to define the random variable properly. So here random variable x, a time it takes to prepare question paper. So it is what? It is the continuous random variable. And in the question it is given to you, it follow a normal distribution with parameter mu and sigma square, where mu is equal to 40 minutes and sigma square or sigma is equal to standard deviation is equal to 15 minutes. So uh, we can we can convert normal variate into the standard normal variate by subtracting the mean and divide by the variance. So here we can write z is equal to x minus mu upon sigma, and it will give you x minus 40 upon 15. Now in the part A, it is asked what is the probability that question paper can be prepared in less than 20 minutes. So within the 20 minutes. So probability x less than equal to 20. So this will become probability of x minus mu upon sigma less than equal to 20 minus 40 upon 15. So this will give you probability z less than equal to minus 1.34. So from the table, if you will see its value, it will come the 0.09. In the part B, it is asked what is the probability that question paper can be completed in 30 to 40 minutes. So on both sides, we subtract the mu, divide by the standard deviation. It will become 30 minus 40 upon 15, x minus mu upon sigma less than equal to 45 minus 40 upon 15. So this will give you probability of minus 0.67 less than equal to z less than equal to 0.33. So it is nothing, it is the phi of 0.33 minus phi of point minus 0.67. So from the table, if you will see the value, and this will come the 0.38. So that is the end of the question 3. Let us move to the question number 4. In a bank, every customer is first served by a teller machine and then by an executive. Means there is a tandem service system. After which customer leaves the bank. The service time in minute at the teller machine and at the executive are independent and exponentially distributed with mean mu m and mu e respectively. A new customer named A arrives and finds the teller machine free, while two customers B and C are being served by executive. Customer B in service and customer C in waiting. Find probability that B is still in service while A has been served by teller machine. Means now A is in line in the queue in front of the executive, right? When B is still in service. So very good question, right? So here we have the three individuals A, B, C, and it is given to you all the individuals has to go through the teller machine, then to the executive. So what is the required condition? B will still be in service when A moves to executive. So it is possible only when the service of A at the teller machine ends before the remaining service at the executive for the individual B. So we define the random variable. Always it is necessary to define the random variable. Let TA service time of A at the teller machine, TB service time of customer B at the executive, and it is given to you. Both follow the exponential distribution with mean mu t and mu e at the teller machine or at the executive. So TA follow the exponential distribution with mean time 1 upon mu t, and TV follow the exponential distribution with mean time 1 upon mu e. Now, so it follow the exponential distribution. So its PDF or their PDF are given by the f of ta 1 upon mu t e to power minus 1 upon mu t into t for the t greater than equal to 0, and f of tb will become 1 upon mu e to power minus 1 upon mu e into t for t greater than equal to 0. Now it is given in the question that time or the time to service at tailor machine and at the executive are independent to each other. So since ta and tb are independent, we can write the joint pdf as a product of the marginal pdf. So f of ta into tb for s comma t will be the f of ta for s and f of tb for t. So f of ta means pdf for the ta, f of tb means pdf for the customer b. So it will become 1 upon mu a mu b e to power minus mu a into s minus e to power 1 upon mu b into t for the t greater than equal to 0. Now in our question, customer A come in come in the queue in front of the executive when customer B is in service. It is possible only when TA less than TB. So probability of required probability is the P of TA less than TB. So this will become integral 0 to infinity integral 0 to t, means here we are integrating for the t, here we are integrating for the s. 1 upon mu t into mu e to power minus 1 upon mu t into s minus 1 upon mu e into t, mu e into t into ds into dt. So 1 upon mu t and mu e can be taken outside. So here we have the integral 0 to infinity e to power minus 1 upon mu e into t, and first integral with respect to s we have solved. So it will give you minus mu t e to power minus s upon mu t limit 0 to t. So it can be written as mu t upon mu t into mu e integral 0 to infinity e to power minus t upon mu e into 1 minus e to power minus t upon mu t into dt. So just you integrate by parts. So you will get the required answer mu e upon mu e plus mu t. So here you can see how the joint PDF can be made using the given PDF or marginal PDF. Now let us move to question number 4. Let the joint PDF x and y be fxy is equal to cx square y for interval y belongs to x square and 1. Otherwise, it is 0. Find the constant c. Hence compute x greater than y. So again, this question belongs to the joint PDF. It is given to you joint PDF fxy is equal to c into x square y for the interval x square less than equal to y less than equal to 1 and 0 elsewhere. So here, um, if you draw, right, if you draw this curve, so here you can say that it is the curve of the y is equal to x square parabola and y is equal to 1. From here we have the idea that here we have the limit of the y. From lower side it is the parabola, from the upper side it is the line. Means we have the following structure. So since fxy is the joint PDF of the x and y, so we know that uh, integral over the x and y should equal to 1. It is the necessary and sufficient condition. So integral minus infinity to infinity for x, integral minus infinity to infinity for the y, fxy dx dy is equal to 1. So just you put the value fxy, given fxy. So for the x from minus 1 to 1, means here we have the x is equal to 1 and here we have the x is equal to minus 1. So x is equal to minus 1 to 1, y is equal to, means y, here we are taking the strip like this, right? Here we are taking the strip like this. This is the question of the double integral. In the math 1 you have studied this. So integral y is equal to x square to 1 of c x square y dy dx. So c we have taken out of integral. So c now integral from x is equal to minus 1 to 1 x square dx, and integral of the y dy will be the y square by 2 and limit x square to 1. So on putting you will get this integral x is equal to minus 1 to 1 x square into 1 minus x to power 4 upon 2 into dx. So and is equal to 1. So on integration you will get it as a 4c upon 21 is equal to 1, or c is equal to 4 upon 21. Right. So here you know that always we have to take the non-negative. PDF is always the non-negative. So c greater than 0. Now in the part B, in the first part we have to compute the constant c. In the part B, required probability is probability of x greater than or equal to y. So here we have put the value of the c. So 21 upon 4 integral 0 to 1 x square to x, right? X square to x means y always less than x. So x square to x square y dy dx. So on integration you will get the required value as a 3 upon 20. Let us move to question number 6. Question number 6. A market research study is to be conducted among the Mac user. In this regard, what should be the sample size if we want to estimate percentage of Mac users planning to add terminal within 3% margin with 92% confidence? So this question is for the confidence interval for the proportion. You have to determine the sample size so that you are 92% confidence that your estimate value are correct, belongs to that. So you know, for the proportion, sample size is equal to n is equal to z alpha by 2 whole square upon 4d square. If as we have to compute the proportion, right? P cap is equal to P is unknown. When P is unknown, then we use this formula. So it is given to you D is equal to 0.03, margin is 0.03, and it is given to you 92% confidence, means 1 minus alpha is equal to 0.92 or alpha is equal to 0.08. So alpha by 2 will become the 0.04. So here, from the z alpha by 2, what is the meaning of the z alpha by 2? That is the probability z greater than equal to z alpha by 2, that is the 0.04 is equal to 0.04, right? So it can be, left side can be written as 1 minus probability z less than equal to z of 0.04 is equal to 0.04. And this is nothing, this is the CDF of standard normal distribution, 1 minus f z of 0.04 is equal to 0.04. So this will become f of z of 0.04 is equal to 0.96. So its value from the table using the interpolation will be the 1.7511. See, direct value is not given in the table, so we can do the interpolation. In the table, we have the value of CDF at 1.75 as a 0.9599 and at 1.76 as a 0.9608. So we require the 0.96. So from the left side, difference will be the 0.01. On the right hand side, difference is the 0.0009. So for the difference of 0.0001 will become the 0.01 divided by the 0.0001 into this will, right? So 0.01 divided by the 0.0009 into 0.0001. So it is equal to the 0.0011. So the CDF at 1.7511 will be the 0.96. So this is the way to do the interpolation, right? If tabular value is not uh, as per our requirement, so we can do the interpolation. See, generally we avoid the interpolation, we do the interpolation for the special cases only. Just to explain here the interpolation, we have this question. Otherwise we prefer to take the near value. So when we have this value z alpha by 2 as a 1.7511, so just you put in the formula, so n will become z alpha by 2 square upon 4 into d square. So it will give you 851.7. So when we take the sample size, always we take the ceiling value. So it will become the 852. So this is the minimum sample for the given confidence interval and margin. Let us move to next question. Question number 7. A study of the electromechanical projection device used in electrical power system showed that of 25 devices that failed when tested, 8 were due to mechanical parts failure. Find 90% score confidence interval of P of proportion, the proportion of failure that are due to mechanical parts failure. So here you have to compute the score confidence interval. So the formula for the uh, P tilde will be the P cap plus Z square alpha by 2 upon 2n upon 1 plus Z square alpha by 2 upon n. So what is the P cap is given from the sample 8 due to the mechanical failure out of the 25. So 8 upon 25 plus Z alpha by 2 for the 95% confidence. So it will become the 0.025, right? So Z at 0.025 will be the 1.645. So 1.645 square upon 2n, 2 into 25 whole upon 1 plus z square alpha by 2 means 1.645 square upon n 25. So this value will come the 0.334987. So now confidence score confidence interval will be the p tilde plus minus z alpha by 2 square root of p cap q cap upon n plus z square alpha by 2 upon 4n square upon 1 plus z square alpha by 2 upon n. So just you put the value. So p tilde plus minus 1.645 root of 8 upon 25 into 17 upon 25. Q cap is nothing 1 minus p cap upon n, that is the 25, z square 1.645 square upon 4n square, 4 into 25 square upon 1 plus z square 1.645 square upon 25. So on solving, you will get p tilde plus minus 1.645 into 0.0939711161. So score confidence interval will be the 0.334987 plus minus 0.154582. So this is the way to determine the confidence in score confidence interval for the proportion. In question number 8, find the maximum likelihood estimate of the parameter alpha. Right, MLE generally we use to compute the estimate for the unknown parameter. So unknown parameter is the alpha of the of a population having probability density fx is equal to 2 upon alpha square into alpha minus x, where x belongs to 0 to alpha and 0 otherwise, for a sample of unit size. Here we are taking the sample of the unit size being x being a sample value. Is it a unbiased estimate? So they are asking now, it is the unbiased estimate. So this is the question of MLE. So you know how to compute the likelihood function. Likelihood function is the probability of probability for the for drawing the sample. So likelihood function for the random sample of size 1 will be the L of alpha is nothing, it is the f of x at x with parameter alpha, and it is given to you fx is what, 2 upon alpha square into alpha minus x, and x belongs to 0 to alpha. Alpha is unknown here. So right, alpha is unknown, that you have to estimate. Alpha unknown, right, that you have to estimate. So we take the log natural log on both sides. So ln of L alpha is equal to ln2 minus 2 ln of alpha plus ln of alpha minus x. So on differentiating on both sides, you will get the d by d alpha, means on differentiating on both sides with respect to alpha. So it will be the d by d alpha of ln of L alpha, d by d alpha of ln2 minus 2 ln of alpha plus ln of alpha minus x. So on the left hand side, it will be the 1 upon L into L dash is equal to minus 2 upon alpha plus 1 upon alpha minus x. So for the maximum from the calculus, we know d by d alpha of L must equal to 0, means L dash is equal to 0. So here we have the L dash upon L is also 0. So it will give you minus 2 upon alpha plus 1 upon alpha minus x is equal to 0. So on solving, it will give you alpha is equal to 2x. So the estimator of alpha will be the 2x. Now they are asking whether it is unbiased estimator or not. So for that, we compute the expected value. If expected value of alpha cap is equal to alpha, then we say it is unbiased. If it is not equal to alpha, then we say it is not unbiased estimator. So here we compute the expected value of alpha cap. So it will be the expected value of 2x, and expectation follow the linear property, so it will become 2 into e of x. So 2 into e of x means 2 into e of x is what? Uh, Integral 0 to alpha x into fx into dx. So just you put the value of the f. So 2 into integral 0 to alpha x into 2 upon alpha square into alpha minus x into dx. So on solving, it will give you 4 upon alpha square alpha x square by 2 minus x cube upon 3 limit 0 to alpha, or 4 upon alpha square into alpha cube upon 6, or 2 by 3 into alpha. So e of alpha cap is not equal to alpha. So since it is not equal to, so we can say alpha cap is not unbiased estimator of the alpha. Let us move to question number 9. A normal population has mean zero point 0.1 and standard deviation 2.1. Find the probability that mean of sample of size 900 will be negative. So this question belongs to the distribution of the sample mean. Here we know that sample mean follow the normal distribution. So here z is equal to x bar minus mu upon sigma upon root n. So x bar means sample mean follow the normal distribution with mean mu and standard deviation mu upon root n. So we can write it as z standard normal variate z is equal to x bar minus mu upon sigma upon root n. Mu and sigma and n are given to you. So x bar minus 0.1 upon 2.1 upon root of 900. So it will become x bar minus 0.1 upon 0.7. So here x bar will become 0.1 plus 0.7 into z. Now in the question it is asked what is the probability that sample mean is negative. So probability x bar less than 0. So x bar we have computed as a 0.1 plus 0.7 into z. So probability 0.1 plus 0.7 into z less than 0, or it will give you probability z less than minus of 1.43. So from table its value will be the 0.0764. Now let us move to second last question. A random sample of 100 recorded death in India during a 1 year period showed an average lifespan of 71.6 year. So from the sample, the average lifespan is the 71.6 year. Assuming a population standard deviation of 8.9 years, means sigma is known. Sigma is known. Does this seem to indicate that the mean lifespan during that year was greater than 70? So this is the claim that mean life of individual is greater than 70. Use 0.05 level of significance. So this question belongs to testing of hypothesis. So first we have to identify the hypothesis. So h naught we take mu is equal to 70. So always in the null hypothesis h naught, right? H naught denotes h naught is nothing. It is the null hypothesis. H1 is the alternative hypothesis. So always in the null hypothesis we have the is equal to, and in the alternative we have the less than, greater than, or not equal to only. So from the given question, average lifespan, that is the mu, is equal to 70, and h1 will be the mu greater than 70, because we are claiming that average life more than this. So this is the question, and alpha is given to you as a 0.05. So this question belongs to the right tailed. Right tailed means on this side we have the 0.5% only. So from here the critical region will become z greater than 1.645, means this is the z is equal to 1.645. So z greater than 1.645, and here we compute the z as a test statistics z, right? So from the from the level of significance we can define the critical region. From the critical region we can define the level of significance. So here the z is equal to x bar minus mu upon sigma upon root n. So it is given to you from the sample of 100 people. Sample mean is equal to 71.6. So 71.6 minus 70 upon population standard deviation is known, 8.9 upon samples root of sample size, root of the 100. So it will give you 1.798. So 1.798 is clearly greater than the 1.645, right? So now you can say this z absorbed from the sample belongs to the critical region, right? Belongs to the critical region. So when we observation value belongs to critical region, then we reject h naught. So critical region is nothing, region where we reject the h naught, we accept the claim hypothesis or alternative hypothesis. The mean lifespan today is greater than 70 years, right? We can do this question from the significance testing also. For that we have to compute the p value. P value is what? P value means z greater than 1.8, right? Means from here we have the z is equal to 1.798. So we have taken the approximation. So z greater than 1.8, and tabular value will be the from the table of the standard normal distribution, its value is the 0.036, which is less than given level of significance 0.05. So the same conclusion we have from the significance testing or from the testing of hypothesis. So as a result, the evidence in favor of H1 is stronger than that suggested by zero point 0.5 zero 0.05 level of significance. So here we have means the given data, given sample strongly favor for the acceptance of the alternative hypothesis. Now let us move to question number 11. So note, no need to show detailed step by step computation for the question. You can just write in this question direct value. No need to show the procedure. In the following table, X is tensile force applied to a steel specimen in thousand of newtons, and Y is the resulting elongation in thousands of an inch. So here we have the uh, X and Y. X is equal to 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and Y is equal to 14, 33, 40, 60, 75, 85. Write down the normal equation for the regression line for these data. Write the estimated linear regression equation. Compute sum of square of exploration, sum of square of the residual, sum of square of total, and coefficient of determination. So this question belongs to linear regression. So according to question, we have the following information. There are the total six sample, n is equal to 6, and here we have made the table. So xi is given to you as 1 3 4 5 7 8. Corresponding elongation is given to you as we denote it by the y, right? Tensile strength is given and elongation is given to you. So here 14 33 40 60 75 85. So from here we compute the xi square. So xi square will become 1 9 16 25 49 and 64, and xi into yi will be the 14 99 160 300 525 and 680. So if you take the sum, so sum of xi will be the 78, summation of xi will be the 78, summation of yi will be the 307, summation of xi square will be the 164, and summation of xi yi will be the 1778. And we know that normal equation for the regression line are n b naught plus b1 summation of xi is equal to summation of yi, b naught summation of xi plus b1 summation of xi square is equal to summation of xi yi. So all the summations value we have already computed in above table. So just you put, so n is equal to 6, summation xi is equal to 28, summation xi is equal to 28, summation xi square is equal to 164, summation yi is equal to 307, summation of xi yi is equal to 1778. So here we have the system of equation, right? System of equation with b naught and b1 as a unknown. So we can compute on solving the system of equation. B naught will come 2.82, B1 will come 10.36. So here line of regression will become y cap is equal to, means from here for the given value of x we can predict what will be the elongation. So y cap will be the b naught in plus b1 into x. So 2.82 plus 10.36 into x. So that will give you the estimated linear regression equation. Right? Means for the given force we can determine what will be the elongation. Now, in the part C, we have to compute the SSE, SSR, SST, and coefficient of determination. So, you know that coefficient of determination give the uh, percentage percentage of the error in actual value and predicted value, right? So, we denote it by the R square, and its value always lie between 0 and 1. It give you the correlation between predicted and actual values. So we know that SST means sum of square of total is equal to SSC, sum of square of the error plus SSR for the residual. So that we can denote is as a summation of yi minus y bar whole square, summation of yi cap minus y bar, and plus summation of yi minus yi cap whole square. So here the y cap denote the predicted value, right? So when we compute the when we predict the value for the given x by the normal by this equation, right? So you will get the different value. So on taking the summation, you will get the required value 3626.8333 is equal to 49.18 plus 3577.653. For this, you can take the help because last time it was the online, so the students have the facility of the facility for using the Excel. So you can use the Excel also for this purpose. And coefficient of determination will be the R square. is equal to 1 minus SSR upon SST. So required value will be the 0.9864. Means when the R square is near to 1, we can say that predicted value are more closer to the actual value. If it is near to 0, then we say our line of regression is not correct, is not good, right? Means predicted value is very far from the actual value. So here it is very much near to 1, so we can say that our equation is good. So that's all for the comprehensive examination, right? So best of luck for the forthcoming comprehensive examination. I will continue to post other comprehensive examination paper also. For this paper, if you feel any doubt, you can call me at this number 9414492349 or mail me at this mail ID chandrasekhar@pilani.bits pilani.ac.in. Correct? So best of luck to all of you. So here we have finished the comprehensive examination open book of second semester 2019-20 of the course Math F113 Probability and Statistics.